to another episode of One Shot, One Quill. I'm your host, Spencer. With me, as always, is my best friend and once and future lover, Ben. Ben, say hello.
Hello, I'm Ben. I legitimately thought you were going to pull a bait and switch and name our guest when you did that.
It would have been funnier. This is why I'm a writer and not an improviser.
Yeah.
Also joining us is our guest, Ben. Ben really gave it away, really blew away the spoiler.
I didn't say his name.
Is our guest, Matthew McConaughey. Matthew?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Matthew, is it true that you play D&D with all the 18-year-olds you pick up at high schools?
Yeah, man. I hate to see him go, but I love to watch him leave. What's good?
I want to. This one's directly to any lawyers listening. Allegedly.
Allegedly. I want to point out that he almost said, "I hate to see him leave, but I love to watch him go," which is the exact opposite of what that quote is trying to portray.
Ben, tell the folks, what do we do here?
Now, this is a podcast.
Wait a minute.
Oh, we didn't introduce.
I was going to say, I was wondering how long it was going to take.
No, it's Matthew McConaughey. You've got to keep this bit up the entire time.
Again, I'm a writer, not an improviser. I'm all about no also.
Hey, everybody, my name's Evan Richard. That's who I am.
Going full stream on the last name.
Yeah.
Dox away.
We get very political here. You're going to be doxed by all.
Evan has the luxury of two first names.
Three, actually.
He can't be doxed.
I'm not
he has
going to
three
say
first names.
Not going to say the middle one because that would be
Donald.
Yep. Oh God. Well, now they all know.
Just you are Evan, legitimately undoxable. No one could track you down. There are easily 5,000 Evan Richards in the city we live in?
It is the lamest X-Men superpower to have. It is simply just the worst.
I can get into social media arguments and face no repercussions.
Now,
you would not believe. Never mind.
You wouldn't get it from the first 4 minutes of this podcast, but this podcast is in fact a D&D brainstorming, campaign forming podcast in which we take suggestions from the audience, run them through a little dice roller on the internet because we're too lazy to buy actual dice, I guess.
They don't make D50s.
That's true. They don't make D50s and we can't do math. And we take those dice, we roll them through a dice roller. They correspond to suggestions from the audience, one of which is a prompt, two of which are magic items. We then mush them and smush them together, and we come out with a D&D campaign that is, and I quote, either good or it isn't.
What's that a quote from? Who
Me.
quoted it? You. Okay, cool.
I said that.
Yeah. Let the record show. Again, we're gearing this one towards the lawsuit that's coming after we accuse Matthew McConaughey of banging 18-year-olds.
Hey, he said it himself. That wasn't us.
Yeah, that was his own line that he said out of his mouth.
I said that was said in character, therefore legally distinct from the actual Matthew McConaughey.
I don't know which is crazier, that we were able to book Matthew McConaughey or that we were able to specifically book him for 3 minutes and then he was gone.
Well, I mean, you know how those contracts work. They get pretty pricey the longer you got them, so.
That's a fact. And he's a busy man.
That's why at my wedding, I plan to just hire a band that's like a famous band to come and play 3 notes and then leave. And everyone will be like, wow, you did get bare naked ladies, but they sure didn't stay very long.
They got through half of 1 week and then they just started packing up.
I want to hire bare naked ladies to come to my wedding. Just walk up to the microphone, go, it's Ben, and then walk away.
Ben, do you want to go ahead and roll me up a premise?
Yeah, let's see. I'm going to just smack that button a few times.
Smash that like button.
3.
A 3, all right. An icy mining town has been experiencing an influx of earthquakes. What they don't know is that their town is built on the back of an ancient dragon turtle who has woken from its slumber and is now on the move.
Is that it? Is that the whole description?
That is the premise. That is the whole premise front to back.
That's actually just never-ending story.
Oh no! Not copyright.
Evan, I want you to embrace the impossibility and know that we have to one up a never-ending story.
I just want to put this out now on episode 4 that if you do submit copywritten prompts, we're blocking you forever.
I really like the premise.
It's actually very cool.
But we need 2 items to spice this one up. So Ben, you want to get me a...
Otherwise, you just walk up to the turtle and you're like, go back to sleep. It's still cold out. So I think what we need to add to give this some spices. How does a 21 hit ya?
I'm going to resist the urge to read ahead.
Okay.
But the first 2 words have already filled me with dread. Okay. A 21, Ben, is a, quote, down boy. It physically resembles a toy child with a frown, and his torso is a comical arrow pointing down. Those who attack the attuned holder of Down Boy must make a DC 10 strength save, or be cosmically shoved into the earth, leaving only their head above the ground. This counts as being restrained until they pass the strength save at the end of their turn.
Good lord.
Okay.
That is one of the lengthier ones we've gotten.
Not sure how to play that into it.
I mean, I already know how to beat the campaign, but I feel like we should get the second.
You down boy through the turtle's skull.
Yeah.
You go through the turtle.
You become a downward shot bullet and kill the turtle.
You just take your sword, you down boy yourself into the turtle, and you just swish your sword around a little bit, and the turtle's dead.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we need another item though to like really cinch the thing.
What about 8?
8.
8.
It's a good bit from Stanley Parable. 8. A disembodied mouth which follows the players and only they can see, and can mimic their voices to trick NPCs.
Can mimic any voice or the player's voice?
It specifies their voices.
Interesting.
It basically just sounds like you've got a limited Kenku at your disposal.
Yeah, it's on their side, I guess.
Interesting.
So it's not like...
It's not some weird...
it's not a curse.
Yeah.
It's not a Cheshire cat curse that just follows you around and only you can see it.
It's not a mouth that is deliberately trying to screw up every single stealth roll that you've ever rolled in your entire life.
So we've got Downboy and the disembodied mimic mouth. I shouldn't say mimic, imitator mouth. And we've got a icy village that's kind of being wrestled by earthquakes. It's on the back of a dragon turtle, an ancient dragon turtle at that. Let's see here.
Well, I don't know what necessarily the protocol is, but like...
Pitch away, if you've got an idea.
Well, the thought that is in my head right now is, what is the actual goal of the campaign? Because, like, obviously we've established, you become Bullet Man, and you shoot through heart.
So you got this classic, is it okay for the dragon turtle to move and destroy the village? Or does the village have a right to defend themselves and tell the dragon turtle not to move?
Are ancient dragon turtles intelligent?
So a dragon turtle is a very high CR monster, and it is a, let's see here, gargantuan creature. So this is among your larger things that you will see.
Right. That tracks because there is a village on the back of it.
If you're talking about a village where there's maybe 10 or 12 houses or so, I think that would fit on its back. Near and about.
I mean, yeah. And it depends on how old a dragon turtle is, I think. They can generally... I know that in Ghosts of Saltmarsh, there was an ancient dragon turtle. Well, not ancient in terms of this, but there is a dragon turtle that you're supposed to fight that basically can just bite ships away. It just bites the bottom of ships out and the ships go away.
Well, and traditionally, for my experience, I have seen Finding Nemo, so I understand that turtles are supposed to live for quite a while. And then I think dragons also live, so you compound turtle life and dragon life, and it gets to be just ridiculously long.
It's factorial at that rate, yeah.
I think the way that we have to play this, the conflict that is generated from this is you've got this ancient dragon turtle. It's just trying to do what dragon turtles do, which is, I guess, swim in the water. But if it does that, it's going to destroy the village and either force these people to move or kill them by drowning them. So I think the conflict is figuring out which side you are going to be on.
Is that maybe like the quote time limit? It was like on land and it's making its way to water.
I feel like it's part of its hibernation was it got itself lodged in an ice sheet, and now that it's waking up, it's breaking free of all the permafrost, and it's going to descend, but will essentially create a massive hole and sink this village.
Right. Well, and if you're in the I can't remember the land. It's in Rime of the Frost Maiden. Like, if you're in that sort of area,
Icewind Dale,
then like it's supposed to be like miles and miles of frozen like sheet ice. Essentially like the ocean and sea has frozen in this area. So like could be like, oh, well, you've got about 6 hours, or you've got like maybe like a week, as it slowly makes its way over to where the water would be.
It could be interesting to see how long this thing's been hibernating and like how much of a fixture it's been for this little community. Like maybe they've got, maybe they've more or less mined into the ice and they've taken little chips, like just minute fragments as far as the dragon turtle is concerned, but pieces of its shell. And that makes weaponry for them and armament and things like that.
Right. Maybe that's why the adventurers go to that village, is because it's like the only place where you can find this, essentially Wakanda. It's we've just made Wakanda, but on the back of a dragon turtle. But like that's the
we've been told Wakanda.
Are you telling me that Wakanda isn't on the back of a dragon turtle?
maybe that's what vibranium is.
I've not seen Black Panther 2 yet, but I assumed that was the plot.
Right. But maybe that's what draws the party to this village, and then they can sort of like.
That's actually a really good hook, because I was wondering, this sounds like a really remote setting. How do you even get a group of worldly or otherwise, foreign adventurers into this spot? That's a great point.
Maybe the earthquakes aren't even what is getting it there. Like that's just a thing that's been happening, and then you discover, oh. When the thing stands up, oops, well, now we're on the back of this turtle.
Yeah, and I think
that's definitely what puts this place on the map.
That also gives them an incentive to side with the village. I think if their incentive isn't just, well, I want to kill a dragon turtle, you'd be like, well, why not just have the villagers move? Because that seems like the best of both worlds, but this seems like an incentive. The village is like, hey, if you can fix these earthquakes and save our town, we'll give you these, turtle stone weapons or whatever the heck for free.
Walmart brand vibranium.
Take a scimitar of our Walmart brand vibranium. If you make this town not shake anymore.
I'm debating. Say you wanted to go with the sign of the dragon turtle, which if you're me, of course you will. You will free willy 100% of the time. Where could you displace this? Because it's a very remote tribe, I imagine. Where could you displace them to? My first thought was maybe there is an encampment of, say, a monstrous race. Like, say you've got a goblinoid camp, an orc camp, whatever you want, really. That's kind of settled in the nearby forest. It's pretty straightforward as far as D&D is concerned, but if you want to relocate the villagers, go wipe out the camp and then have the villagers move in and take over that infrastructure.
I think there's got to be something where like the dragon turtle has already started moving.
That's kind of what I thought.
It's going to be difficult to get things out of here.
Right.
And someone's going to be like, well, but I have this ancient anvil that costs 1 billion gold.
Right.
Yeah, there's absolutely room for like a skill check or a non-combat kind of, a non-combat encounter. Where you've got applicable uses for things like, your various easy cantrips, your actual leveled spells, stuff that can help you out with. My favorite example was going through like Ghosts of Saltmarsh opens, at least Ben, the way you ran it, opens on a non-combat encounter of like, hey, the ship's in the middle of a storm. How do you want to approach it? And you've got, the rogue with his sleight of hand. I'm going to make sure I fasten all the knots. The sorcerer, I'm going to cast Ray of Frost to like batten down the hatches, freeze the water over. Like, I love encounters like that. Weasel those in where you can.
So I think that one of the big ones has to be there's some part of the forge. They're like, well, we can't rebuild this forge. We need to move parts of the forge. And so maybe that's a strength check. Maybe it's like a magic thing where you're like teleporting certain parts of the forge, or
Tensor's floating disc even seems like a valid use of that.
Yeah, something that can, carry a lot of heavy things.
Yeah, I think that absolutely checks. I mean, if you've got a barbarian, his carrying capacity would be enough to probably haul that anvil, even if he's encumbered or something of that sort.
Right.
But if you put it under a time check, that's where because, long story short, you can shove something if you take your sweet ass time with it anywhere you want. But if, say, you've got fissures opening up and you're like, hey, you've got 5 minutes, or not even that. You've got
You've
three
got an
turns
hour
to
of
decide.
game time, and you've got 5 minutes of real time to figure out how to get all of this stuff dealt with.
Right.
There's also, if it's moving already, then there's it could fall down into a crack, or it could fall under the dragon turtle, and the dragon turtle could just crush it.
Right. Well, I think that's, for my understanding too, I think it would be important to I think this adventure starts with this turtle not moving, and then once you sort of piece together kind of what's happening as the players, that's when the turtle wakes up, and then you've got this amount of time to help these villagers displace their stuff.
I think you got a bakery that he wants to sell all his bread first. The solution is just to buy all the bread.
Fire sale. I think you've got maybe the breaking up of the ice sheets, I imagine, would let loose a few water flows. So maybe you've got an encounter where you've got a hard running current that's going to separate the group. That could be maybe cleared by a jump, could be bridged over with some debris, could be navigated by someone with a swim speed.
Sure.
Any number of things there.
A kid's definitely going to fall somewhere, and you're going to have to be like, take my hand, and the kid's going to be like, I'm scared.
Maybe there's a family that's lived there their whole life, and you've got to convince them not to go down with the ship or something. Look, this is just a place. You can get another place that can be just as important as this house, but this house is going down.
And I think there's more than a couple ways that conversation gets harder that can also be tackled by a different type of NPC or a different type of player. So by which I mean they could want to stay there for the cultural, what I call the Joplin, Missouri reason of well, I guess I'm going to rebuild. Feasibly, I could move to any better part of the country, but I'm going to rebuild.
Well, we're really alienating all of the Joplin, Missouri listeners that are going to be so into this podcast.
Yeah.
Alternatively, they could want to, maybe their culture is centered around the turtle. Maybe they're aware of what they're doing here. I don't know how well they understand the dragon turtle lives beneath them, but there could be a religious aspect to it that, some of the more devout members of the community are like
the gift of the stones.
This is what the land bringer gives us. This is what the world eater
cult
wants or something.
There's a doomsday cult that is trying to convince the rest, or at least some of the villagers, that they have to die here. This has been prophesied.
I like how quickly. Now, again, this thing starts moving. How long have we known? Because I would assume one of the initial quest hooks would be figure out what is causing these earthquakes. Do we know that they're?
I mean, maybe I like this doomsday cult idea. I think before you figure out it's a dragon turtle, the doomsday cult is trying to stop you.
Interesting.
Because they're
so the doomsday cult knows when you get there what's going to happen.
Yes.
Okay.
I think an interesting angle to put, because these coincide here. When we originally brought the idea in, I was thinking that a intro could be a team of archaeologists on the outskirts of the town have been digging, and that they have found, say the eye of the dragon turtle that is awake and is clearly looking around, and you can hear it closer when you're down in the mines beneath the ice sheets. And this wizard's explaining to you the villagers don't understand what I'm trying to tell them, but you can help. I think we have a best of both. This doomsday cult could in fact have found evidence of the fact that there is a ancient dragon turtle that lives beneath here. They have recontextualized it, a la, say, the Covenant from Halo, that this is their divine savior and not something that is going to ruin life as they know it.
Well, and that would also give you an antagonist,
Yeah. Definitely.
If you're going to have combat encounters, and there you go. Now you can fight, cultists.
Something that I think we should bring up is there a solution to this that is best of both worlds?
Well, that's I was thinking about that, yeah.
Is there a solution where the town stays and the dragon turtle doesn't die? Because the way I was thinking about it was the dragon turtle essentially has to move. It's got to get to the ocean or whatever. It's out of hibernation. If it doesn't, it's going to starve. But maybe the solution is sacrificing the cultists to the dragon turtle, and then he's no longer hungry.
Well, and I think that's another thing that I was wondering about earlier. That's why I asked what its intelligence was, because if you can talk to it, like if you've got a party member, I don't know what language dragon turtles would speak. I don't know if they do speak.
Aquan and Draconic.
Okay, I was thinking Draconic.
I mean, they could speak Common, too. It's not...
It is, to answer your older question, it is of average intelligence. It's like a flat 10, a 0 mod, which is a lot more than you would see out of a beast.
Right.
So this thing clearly could be... In fact, it has like a +1 charisma.
I think there's a solution to this wherein you just convince the dragon turtle, perhaps with some very good rolls.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That it has, it's been asleep for so long, people have started living on its back, and the dragon turtle just has to stay there. And the dragon turtle's like, well, I guess you're correct because you rolled a 20.
Right. Or maybe you could compromise, and instead of like...
You could bring him food.
Yeah, but I mean, a dragon turtle's got to eat a lot, right?
So maybe the compromise is it just relocates. It doesn't go underwater, but it locates itself next to the water. But that maybe is up to the party to like convince it that is a thing that would be beneficial to it.
Yeah, I think if we're going to go with that, then the initial thing is going to be, I think, convincing the dragon turtle to just listen to you at all.
Yeah.
Which maybe the way you have to do that is by using that little floating mouth and speaking into both of its ears at the same time.
Yeah, because otherwise the Aquan gets like it's like two different people talking at the same time, and it's like, well, I don't understand what they're saying.
Imagine if a fly flew up behind your ear and told you that there were people living on your back. Do you think you would listen to it at all? You'd be like, It's only talking in one ear. So clearly it doesn't have my best interests at heart.
Another solution could be, because I imagine, and I know all of these zoologists are about to be hammering my DMs apart.
Right.
I'm imagining that it's hibernating literally embedded into the ice.
Oh
not
my God,
just kind of like floating right underneath it.
You've just painted a target on your back.
I know, and I wish I had such an undoxable name.
This is gonna age like milk, I'm telling you right now.
I'm just saying, guys, when I get canceled, remember me as I was, not who I became. I'm taking them down with me is the thing. I'm imagining it's embedded into the ice, and so the only way for it to leave is for it to break apart the ice. Like, there is no peaceful way for it to get out. In that scenario, if that were the case, maybe if you got access to some sort of higher level teleport or dimension door or something like that, if you could remove it from where it's at without physically moving it, that could be a solution. That could be a way around it.
It'd be a pretty, it would have to be, and that wouldn't be something that a player could just walk in with. That would be a spell that would like, that's not a spell that conceivably would be learned by a player until like level 20.
So that's part of the bigger issue.
You gotta cast enlarge 16 times.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
that's another idea. You could shrink the turtle in its place.
Or you could drink like 6 hill giant potions and like just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Okay. So
that's how that works, idea.
Right? So we've got a dragon turtle that's been living under the ice. A village that's been built upon its back. The village has a doomsday cult. The doomsday cult wants this village to go down. The villagers obviously don't want to die, and the turtle wants to move because it has finished its hibernation, and that's just what turtles do. It's very much a man versus nature. Can you fault the whale for eating the
King Kong?
krill?
It's King Kong.
It's King Kong. But with a dragon turtle. Some of your solutions are to, kill the dragon turtle. You could relocate the people, but doing so requires moving a bunch of things. If you're not going to kill the dragon turtle, actually, I think either way, you're going to have to deal with the doomsday cult. I think there's no solution to this that does not come down to a confrontation with this doomsday cult.
They're definitely the antagonist in this setup.
Two things on that note. Imagine the icy tunnels that the Doomsday Cult has dug so as to reach the depths necessary to know that it's a dragon turtle, look it in the face, things like that. They've basically got a tunnel network that they've hidden, aside from the regular, tortoiseshell mines or whatever that they've got going. those tunnels could be a very interesting dungeon crawl setting. Another good hazard. A dragon turtle's, one of its big things is its breath weapon, which is steam. It's like a massive steam breath. You could have these geysers of steam that are basically erupting out of, that could be a clue as to where it's coming from. Like if, say, one of the steam breaths comes out the secret tunnels and out one of the random village homes, they're like, it's the weirdest thing. Inconspicuous Todd's house has been billowing with sauna steam.
And he swears it's not the oven.
Maybe that's just a feature of the town, though. Maybe that's part of why the town's here, is because there's these steam
that, like, maybe every once in a while, when the dragon turtle heaves a breath while it's hibernating, that's the steam coming out. That could be really cool. But
it provides heat for the town.
Yeah.
I'm saying that could be a cool trap obstacle in a dungeon crawl. Is like occasionally a big huff puff of steam comes through a corridor. You got to kind of dive to the side.
Especially as you're getting lower down, there's got to be more of those.
Yeah.
Another thing to it is, if we're looking for we were talking about more than one solution. If we're going the avenue of saving the turtle, I thought of an idea that works fairly well for shrinking it. Because teleporting, it's hard to, without it being a MacGuffin, it's hard to get like a decent, sufficient level spell that's going to get that thing out of there. What I wonder is, could you have, say, a trade caravan that went missing in the area recently? And say it was sacked by the Doomsday Cult. The Doomsday Cult has taken this merchant, interrogated him, whatever, taken his treasure and hidden it away in their stores. What if that merchant was, say, an alchemist, and he had a literal crate full of shrinking potions of diminutive size, or potion of gaseous form, something that you could use to, say, take a crate full of these and compounding feed the dragon turtle until it, non-invasively shrinks down to a size that it can just kind of, wiggle away into a crack and get down to the water below.
Yeah. So
it's just an idea.
A solution is to kill the dragon turtle. Well,
with
if you deal with the dragon turtle and save the town will give you some of their special dragon turtle shell weapons and armor.
Right.
Yeah, I think that. You've also got a down boy and a talking mouth.
Oh my god, we didn't use either of those.
Really,
I really do think that the down boy could be like.
I think they just give you the down boy. I don't know, just for fun.
The down boy seems like it could be one
really
item.
Plot relevant.
The down boy could have been pulled from the merchant caravan, if you want to include that as a means of doing it. Which that could then become your big Goron hammer, so to speak, for your fire temple, so to speak.
Right.
It could be your key item that you use to, say, traverse a floor of the ice dungeon.
You could also and this was actually originally where the idea was going in my head before the very funny idea of becoming a bullet came in. I was thinking you could maybe get the dragon turtle to attack the down boy. And then the dragon turtle could shoot down into the earth for another forced hibernation. I don't know.
That isn't
right.
Or, it shoots down below the ice that it's breaking up.
Yeah. That was
just magically gets transported down
really
below
good,
the
actually.
ice sheet. Actually, that's a really good use of the down boy.
Or you could use it as a bullet. Either one, whichever way you want to go with it. But that was kind of where I was going with it. You could actually build a big cannon and
just fire the down boy at one of the villagers just for fun. Since we've established that it's kind of moving forward throughout this, even though not much.
Ever so slightly, yeah. It's getting wiggle room.
You could also have a druid or ranger determine when the exact point that you should use the down boy that would cause the least amount of damage would be.
Yeah. And I like uses of skills like that.
Yeah, and then you can use the mouth as an intercom system. I don't know. The mouth one didn't really seem to fit.
Yeah. I struggle a lot with the mouth one here. Is there literally anything we can think of for that one?
It can make fart noises while you go down into the Doomsday Cult.
It could be a distraction for the...
if you're doing the
distraction for the cult.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. What if the cult is using it? So what if that's when the... Because it's a village. It's a tight-knit community. They need an alibi for when they're actually doing their cult shit down in the mines below.
Right.
So what if that's what they kind of shut the door, they have the mouth go off, and the mouth gives them a cover story like they're inside gambling or whatever.
The party could potentially use it to, if they want to have a non-violent confrontation with the cult, and they have high charisma or deception, use the mouth to whisper into the ear of the cult leader and be like, what you're doing is not what I said.
I am
blah,
God.
blah, blah. I am God. There's nothing else that this could be. There's only one thing that can talk into your ear in this magical world, and it's God. Stop what you're doing.
It could also just be a reward. It could just end up being if you dealt with the cult, now you've got this thing that will help you with stealth checks in the future or something. But I do like the idea that you use it on the cult leader, and he's like, shit, guys, I've dedicated the last 20 years of my life to this, but maybe we were wrong.
Maybe the solution is to get the dragon turtle, have its voice be projected to the cult leader. Because that would sound different than a person.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
that also could be a solution. Again, the whole show, we don't have to come up with a concrete path, but we hopefully got you thinking about something.
This is a good thing for you to consider. Big dungeon full of cultists, big dragon turtle that wants to move, village that doesn't want to move. What are we naming this one?
Evan, as our guest, you get first dibs.
Oh, God. Shell of a Time.
That's a good one. How about Don't Break the Ice?
No,
a Milton Bradley game.
I've got one that I think might be it. Shells Frozen Over.
Ooh, Shells Frozen Over.
Shells Frozen Over? Interesting.
I like that. It's like a good best of both.
Yeah.
I like that. Shells Frozen Over.
Shells Frozen Over.
Yeah. So that's it. That's what we're going with, I guess.
Well, folks, we thank you so much for joining us on an episode of One Shot,
thanks you so
One
much.
Quill.
I thank you very much.
Ben, I thank you so much. And Evan, where would I be without you? But God, Ben, thank you so much.
Can we go back? Can we go ahead and answer that one? I'm still a little upset about the intro to this one, where you said that you didn't love me, or I'd like to go back to where you would be without me.
Evan, do you have anything to promote? We should have asked you this before we started the show.
God, no, man. It's been a year of a pandemic. Maybe on my next appearance.
Currently, you can find Evan on the Steam homepage. Buying 1 game per hour.
1 game per hour at 97 cents a pop.
Find him playing Leisure Suit Larry. This has just become a roast of Evan.
This has just become a roast, yeah. Genuinely. Thanks.
This show has been... Don't thank us on air.
What
narcissists you think we are?
Ben, can you come over here for a second?
No. Let me stroke my ego.
Spencer told me to do that. Is that not what you have your guests do? At the end
go on.
Did anyone do that before? I think he's messing with you.
I'm tapping my foot and crossing my arms.
He's been kind of trying to wring control from me this whole time.
Oh my God, Ben! Can I say I kind of detected that the whole time?
Yeah, maybe someone added me with a compliment on Twitter. I just can't.
All right, let's get back.
Yeah,
let's get back over there
before he notices that we left. Yeah.
Nobody's complimented me in 30 seconds. I'm getting cranky.
All right, this has been an episode of I almost called it an episode of D&D Pod. This has been an episode of One Shot, One Quill. You can find us on Twitter at D&D Pod. The letter D, the letter N, the letter D, and the bit of the word pod, the first part of podcast.
Where we encourage you, nay, beg you, feel free to submit any items or premises. We will utilize them for the episode. If you want to send them in a batch even, that's fine. We take them into a numbered list after the fact, so don't feel the need to add us 20 separate times. But then again, maybe that gets our engagement up.
Do that.
We will credit you if you do that, unless, of course, you are Jack, whose labor we will be using for free for the rest of this show.
Another thing, if you want to help us out, these first few weeks are vital to some of our metrics as far as getting promoted across podcasting platforms like iTunes, Spotify. Go ahead and rate and review us if you got the time. Any platform that you have that allows rating the podcast, please feel free to do so. It gives us a huge hand. Thanks to those of you who have already subscribed. It's nothing but a benefit to us. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you don't miss an episode. We come out every Tuesday. And
also, share us with your friends if you think they'd like it.
Or if you have friends.
Yeah.
It's just a suggestion.
If we're your only friends on this podcast, I'm sorry that it's gonna be...
I can't share it with any more of my friends because they've now all been on.
They're all 13 of our current Twitter followers. Thank you guys very much for your time. We will catch you guys next week. Au revoir.
We need a.
Oh wait! Hold on. Last thing, Ben. Do you want to credit our delightful theme song?
Oh yeah, our theme song is "Alla Tavera del Guglier" by Morgan the Bard.
Our posthumous thanks to him.
Well, you can't really thank him; he's dead.
Yeah, it's like really, how much do you have to thank a dead person? I don't. That really gets metaphysical.
Maybe that's our outro. Morgan the Bard's still dead.
God, no, we're not doing that.
Boy, this episode has ended 4 times.
That's it. That's the outro.
Don't you make me make it a 5th. My warm-up is drinking 2 glasses of mimosa in 10 minutes.
What?
I'm bougie drunk. Let's go.
Bougie drunk.
Should I be drunk for this? I can go get some shots going.
You shouldn't. It gets worse. But